but someone will pick something to be mad about.
It's interesting how quickly calling out hypocrisy gets framed as someone just being mad. Anger and accountability are not the same things. Sometimes what we call anger is it's the sound of someone saying, hey, your actions are not lining up with your words. And if you ever say this,
and let's just see a solid decade.
Yeah, let's just have you walk with Jesus for a couple years before you start out. Yeah.
that someone needs to walk with Jesus a little longer before they're allowed to question the hypocrisy they see within other Christians. That's exactly the type of spiritual gaslighting that keeps so many people silent. It's teaching people to doubt their own awareness. And that's not discipleship, that's conditioning. Now, in this YouTube video, I did learn how ticket sales often involve scalpers, something I did not know before. But I also learned that that is avoidable. And I also think it highlights how detached the system has actually become. I really didn't want my video to be focused on tearing down one person. I was speaking more about a culture that kind of blurs those lines and then calls you toxic for noticing. And if this is your response to $90 hoodies being sold,
Like, oh, well, no, but that's not what Forrest is doing. There's a quality difference. I just bought.
Validate it with the sleeve is what we call it.
Yeah, I just looked at a brand new blank because I wanted to do a premium hoodie that I'm getting samples made for embroidery. It's going to be more than $100.
Come on.
It's going to be more than $100.
Is it it's not the French terry, but it's
it's actually the premium version of the French terry.
Let's go.
if your first instinct is to defend the product instead of reflecting on the pattern, then we're just not having the same conversation. I'm not asking whether the material is soft, ethically made, or reversible denim. I'm asking why merch has to exist at all in a faith-based brand. Why is consumerism so woven into worship culture that high-quality hoodies becomes the defense? And if you're asking this,
What am I supposed to do?
What is he supposed to do? Do the opposite of what Matthew 6 says. So let's pull up Matthew 6. I'm going to approach this from her perspective. Be careful to practice your righteousness. If you do, you will have a reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, please do announce it with trumpets.
So here they're saying my critique is the antithesis of Matthew 6. I feel like I should remind you that Forrest publicly posts his private convictions and claims he's an example, then hides behind scripture when people ask him fair questions. Matthew 6 warns against performative spirituality. Funny enough, I think you have to apply for the Dove Awards yourself to be nominated. Rejecting a nomination you and your team submitted? If that's not performative. I also want to acknowledge that before I spoke about Forrest as if he was a megachurch, implying he owed public transparency. I've realized now clearer than ever that he is running an individual business, not a church. People are voluntarily buying products from him, and this changes the context. He's profiting off of his music and talent just like every other artist. It's interesting to me how these people call this ministry when it boosts their image, and then it's just business when accountability comes up. I really wish they could pick a lane, or at least be honest about the merge. When you intertwine your faith with your brand, it's natural that people will ask how those values show up in your platform, your finances, your messaging. That's not
Weird scrutiny.
That's just what happens when sacred language is used for public influence. At the end of the day, I really appreciated this pushback. It reminded me that I can always be clearer, more nuanced, and more systematic in my approach to these critiques. But it also reminded me how easy it is for accountability to sound like hostility, especially when people have never been taught the difference. Overall, I'm not here to tear anyone down. I'm here to ask better questions about the systems that we've all been shaped by, even when those questions make people uncomfortable. If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that
I'm not backing down from any of this.
and
We need more conversations about this, not less.